Here's another thing you can do with blue barrels. I cut some barrels down to make the wicking barrels, which you can see in the far distance over there. I've got another video on those, and because they're cut taller than halfway, it leaves a little bit on the top, which you can use for other things. So I've cut these rings. It's just a ring about probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, maybe 5 inches, maybe even as much as 6 inches tall, and then I've filled it with mulch around the grapevines. So I've done all 6 of those. They didn't have any mulch around them before, so this should keep them nice and moist during the hot summer that we've got coming up. And yeah, I've been doing a few other things around the garden too. Over here, all of the mulch that's around the goat hay feeder in the distance there sort of built up over the last year into quite a big sort of pile, which the goats have obviously slept on and pooed and peed in, and makes this beautiful sort of compost mulch. So I've started filling in the bed around these morea hedges, and I'm hoping to put some between these moreas, put some sort of fruit trees along here as well. So just sort of getting the soil ready for that. As you can see, it looked pretty grotty before, pretty rubbish. So all I've been doing is sort of cutting the grass right down with a whippersnipper, and then putting a really good maybe 5 inches of mulch on top, and then watering it down. And I think that'll kill the grass underneath, because it's pretty it's pretty much smothered everything around the feeder over there. So this should do the same thing. So yeah, it looks much better. And then over here we've got the little chicks, which are now, I don't know how old they are now, probably 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks old. They're doing pretty well. Got some plants that I've started over here. It's a choco, and these are blueberries. This is just a flowering, climbing thing. Some macadamias. These are Luciana or Lucina, depending on which way you pronounce it. It's a tree which is a really good fodder plant, and it's also a nitrogen fixer. I grew those from seed. They're probably about a year old now. Some other flowering things, a couple of silky oaks. This is a racehorse tree, which I'm hoping to plant somewhere along the fence line to give a bit more shade for the goats and also food. It's a really good fodder tree. And that's a bougainvillea that I'll put somewhere at some stage. So after I've made those, I then get the ring off the top, which I use around the grapevines or around fruit trees and things, and then I'm left with something kind of like this, which makes an excellent feeder trough for the goats. So I've got that over the fence there, and they're just the right size for me to put grain or whatever in. So there's nothing at all wasted from the blue barrels. I've got to cut these two down a little bit more, down to the same height as those ones over there, and put the drain in and fill them with gravel and the geotextile, turn them into wicking barrels. And I've got 4 of those. I'm actually going to put those blueberries in them when they're a little bit bigger, and I'll probably put them along here or somewhere in this corner. The good thing about barrels is they don't do well in a certain spot. You can move them, so just get a sack barrow or a trolley and move them. May as well give you an update on these as well. These are doing pretty well. This is the Egyptian walking onions. They're going extremely well. The asparagus in here, the asparagus crowns aren't doing terribly good, although it is sending up another little shoot there. So there was actually 3 crowns in here, and it doesn't looks like 2 of them haven't really done anything, which is a little disappointing. But anyway, at least one of them is doing okay. I actually waited a while to put these in, so perhaps the other 2 didn't survive. The rhubarb is doing really well. They were both grown from crowns. They were put in back on the 7th of the 7th, 2012. So 7th of July. So they're doing pretty good. I'm not going to cut them this year. You've got to leave them for a year to let their crowns establish. So as soon as they've established, I will, probably next year, I'll be able to help myself to them. The aquaponics is doing really well. It's looking pretty good. All the plants, the lettuce is coming up beautifully. So got some, I think it's pak choy or bok choy, one of those Asian greens. Lots of nasturtiums, coriander, more walking onions, more Egyptian walking onions here. Lots of parsley, nasturtiums. Fish are doing very well. Probably can't see them, but oh yeah, there we go. Fish are doing very well. And then over here, this is my herb bed, well, kind of a herb bed, I guess. I've got perennial leeks in there. There's garlic chives along there. This is sweet marjoram, rosemary, tarragon over the back. More Asian greens, lots of ladybirds. This is a thyme. There's also some comfrey in here. This is, what is this one? I can't quite remember, sage. The strawberries are doing okay, although I've lost a few of them and I can't quite work out why. I'm wondering if it's possibly a pH issue. They sort of just wilt, and yeah, but then the one next to it's doing really well, so I don't really know what's going on there. Possibly crown rot, maybe. This bed seems to be doing better than that bed for some reason, so these ones are pretty vigorous and healthy, so I'm hoping they just sort themselves out and maybe survival of the fittest, the stronger plants will come through. They were pretty dodgy looking plants when I got them, so I think some of the crowns weren't very strong. I think these will send out runners in time, and they'll fill the bed anyway, even if there's only 3 or 4 in there in each bed that survive. My potatoes are doing very, very well. I have actually planted them right down at the bottom with only a small amount of soil, probably 2 or 3 inches between the interface between the gravel and the water. And then as they came up, I've filled it and filled it and filled it until it's right to the top now. The only problem I'm having is with these little things. I don't know if you can see him, but they look like a ladybird, but they're actually a 28 spotted ladybird, and they're nasty. They eat holes in the leaves. You see these leaves have got holes in them. They seem to be still fairly strong and healthy, but yeah, not so good. Not so good. I've been picking them off and feeding them to the fish in the aquaponics, so apparently the only real organic cure for these is pyrethrum. The problem with that is it kills all the beneficial bugs as well. I'm kind of hoping that something will come along and decide to predate on them and eat them, but at the moment it's knocking them around a little bit, but they still seem pretty vigorous. Over here again, not real impressed with the garlic. This was store-bought garlic. It's just pretty spindly and weak. I just really don't know. Not all of it came up. Yeah, I don't know whether I really don't know what I've done wrong here. Again, maybe a pH issue. I might need to get a soil test kit and work out what's actually happening with the soil. There's plenty of moisture down a few inches, but maybe it's a moisture issue. Maybe I need to actually water these guys from the top until they get established. Asparagus bed, similar, you know, first year, pretty spindly, not a huge amount of growth, not all the crowns have grown. Don't really know why that is, but I'm not real impressed with the way these are going right now, and I think I need to reassess what I'm doing. I don't know. I think there may be an issue with how far down the water is. Like that's beautiful and moist, but it's probably down, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches. So I'm thinking maybe I need to take a bit of soil out of the bed, lower the level. So really don't know. Got to give that some more thought. I've put a couple of tomatoes in here with the Jerusalem artichokes because they're not sort of doing anything at all. They haven't come up yet. So I've put a tomato in each corner, which I can grow up over here, up over the trellis, and hopefully I'll get some tomatoes before the Jerusalem artichokes take over. Just have a bit of a dig down. There's heaps of worms in here. Just see if I can find one of these Jerusalem artichokes that I've planted in here, because honestly, they're just not. Beautiful and moist. Worms everywhere. Look, here's one. Look, it's got roots on it. So it's doing something. It's just, for some reason, not getting established real quick. So, I don't know, maybe I planted them too deep. But the amount of worms in this bed is just amazing. Let's cover them back up. Sorry, guys. Probably killed about 20 of them doing that. Yeah, we'll wait and see. Maybe I just put them in too early. They seem to be going okay. They're sending out roots, so hopefully, yeah. So things are going okay. I'll show you the fruit trees over here. These are the figs, the 2 figs. They're doing okay. They're sending out some leaves, which is great. This little fig's got a few tiny little figs on it, so I don't know whether they'll do anything. This last year they were pretty small and then they fell off. So this is my mulberry tree that I grew from a cutting. It's probably about 3 years old now. I had it in a pot for about 1.5 years, and it's been in the ground about 1.5 years. But as you can see, it's probably about, I don't know, 10-12 feet tall. Doing really, really well. And it's just full of berries, which I'm pretty happy about. Look at that. Yum. So every day when I come home from work, I come out and pick as many as I can possibly find and eat them. They're just beautiful. So there's a lot of unripe ones on here, but they're coming. There's another nice ripe one up there. I'll get that later. Stone fruit's doing really well. You can see the which was this one? I think this is a peach. This is a peach, yes. And they're doing pretty well. I actually had to come along and thin out the peaches, which the grower at the nursery told me to do. He said to thin them out to about a hand span apart. So I sort of went, you know, like that. I probably still left them a little bit close, but I couldn't bring myself to thin them out too much. Here's another. This is a apricot, and I've also had to go through and thin this out as well. And there's a little spider there right in the middle of the shot. He can stay or catch a few fruit flies, hopefully. This one is another peach, I think, and this one's doing really well. This one's probably 8 or 9 foot tall, and I had to really thin this out. You can probably see on the ground the amount of peaches that I've picked off. They're just everywhere, but they're doing really well. There's still a lot of peaches on here. Probably can't see them in amongst the leaves, but yeah, there you go. Lots and lots of peaches still on there. I probably knocked 3/4 of them off. This is my guava, tropical guava, which has done really well. It lost all its leaves in spring, or most of its leaves, and now all the new leaves and new growth is coming out, which is great. This is another mulberry, again, that I grew from a cutting. This one hasn't done quite so well, but it was a smaller cutting. It's still probably 8 or 9 foot tall, and has lots of berries on it. So I think, another year it'll probably catch up to the other one. But it's, it's doing really well, beautiful growth. My banana tree, which I planted last winter, not this winter just been, but the winter before, it did really well last year. It grew from basically a root cutting and grew this massive, probably, I don't know, 18 foot tall trunk. And then the frost hit it during winter, and it basically killed all the leaves, and now it's just starting to get its leaves back. This is the first full leaf. Well, this was the first full leaf, but it got blown over in some wind. That leaf was the second leaf. There's another one coming out there now. It's also thrown off these suckers, which are starting to come away now with new growth. Again, these grew last year, but they died back. All the branches died back in the frost. These are starting to come away now. This one's probably, I don't know, 10 foot tall. And then there's this one here. The idea with bananas apparently is that you leave last year's growth, which is this big trunk here, that will actually hopefully get bananas on it this year. Then this one, which is basically a year old, or just over a year old, next year that will give fruit. And then this one, which is, only sort of started at the end of last season, it's probably only had maybe 3 months of growth, 4 months of growth. That will be 2 years' time, bananas in 2 years' time. And this one over here was a fourth sucker that it threw out, and there's no point in having 4 suckers in a clump, so because you just need that succession. So that one I broke off to start a completely new tree. And this one is actually doing okay. It got knocked around by the frost, but you can actually see that it is sending up new shoots. So we've had a lot of wind here, so that's why they're looking a bit bedraggled at the moment, but they will come away. And this one here is a nectarine, which is quite late compared to the others, but it is has had plenty of blossom on it, and it's starting to fruit now. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I will get a good crop of nectarines. It's actually quite a good looking tree. I've got a really nice vase shape happening, goblet shape happening with this. So there you go. Hope that was of some interest.